you guys doing? Psychic medium, demon hunter, and journalist Nicholas Robert Grossman, coming up at you straight up in New Haven, Connecticut, home of the best pizza. Connecticut, home of the best pizza, and home of the best paranormal. Join me for a cig, come on. Yeah, these are cigarettes. They're not weed, but they're cigarettes. Not that it really matters. It actually doesn't matter at all. So I just want to go through a recap of episode 1, because this is one for the books. I mean, this is as Linda Blair as it will ever get. I've never thought in a million years I would ever see a Linda Blair like, and that's Exorcism, because look, she was growling and everything else, and I never believed in those types, to be honest. Even though we have Emily Rose, I'm a very skeptical guy, believe it or not. Let me tell you this. Paranormal investigating and demon hunting are two different things. We usually have a paranormal investigator with us. And when Biff is doing his healing, or if it turns into a deliverance casting or an exorcism, good paranormal police, I'm guilty, I said it. Exorcism, oh my god, it's Steve Biff Saunders, he's an exorcism. Paranormal police, I give up. You got me. Anyway, where's the bug spray? Is there a paraspray for the parasite in the communities? I could spray you guys out. Anyway, we usually have a paranormal investigator though, and with the equipment, when Steve Biff Saunders is doing his exorcism or his deliverance or whatever, because he's a jack of all trades with supernatural, technically. We usually do have somebody doing paranormal instruments as the process is going. So, this is a research. I'm going to prove that this stuff is real. I have seen more demons and more spirits than actual human beings. I'm a loner. I'm a hermit. I may have been in the public and all that, but trust me, I am a hermit. I've spent most of my life as a hermit. But I do go out in the public, though. I like going out in the public. I like doing notable things in the public. I enjoy that, but I need to spend at least 70% of my time quietness, being a psychic medium and with all the energy going on outside. That's what I do. So I just want to go over a recap, and I just want to go over something before the paranormal police come again. Is why do I do this? Okay? Look, I don't care what your belief is. If it's dangerous, it's dangerous. Okay? But if you're going to produce supernatural results, I want to record it. Okay, so yeah, some of this work that I've done, a lot of this work that I've done is on the edge. For one, you'll see Expedition Hell coming out in October, and I followed a very dark coven around. So look, listen, I am a Christian. I believe in Christ. I'm more of a spiritual type of Christian. Sometimes I go to church. I prefer an more evangelical type of church. Lutheran. I'm a Lutheran. But, if I go to church, I'm a Lutheran. I prefer a more evangelical type of it. But, I don't really care what they're doing. I'm looking for, eventually, look, I do it for the supernatural. I do it for the sport. I do it to prove the existence of these entities, okay? And I love helping people. That's why I do it. Okay, episode 1, let's go over. Episode 1 was as Linda Blair as it gets. all started out, I was doing a little reading for these two ladies, and we were in the living room drinking coffee. And before the readings, I always ask, does anybody have any injuries? Heal you up if you need it. So the lady had, one of the ladies had an injury, so I was like, okay, I put my hands on her. And, I said the prayers and all this stuff, Lord's Prayer, very similar to what Biff does. Actually, a lot of it is influenced by how Biff does it. I mean, it was similar, but it gets more and more crafted into the influence of how he does things a little now, obviously. But I was doing the Lord's Prayer, and all of a sudden across the room, not really a big room, but I hear crying, and the tone of voice was in a tone all too familiar.
I mean, her voice was man. Her voice was a man's voice with chorus. You could put chorus on it. You know what I mean by that.
If you were to take my voice or another deep voice and put some chorus effect on it or something like that, that's what it sounded like. And that's very demonic when that happens. Actually, is very, very common, actually. This is very, very common for people's voice to change, especially it's very noticeable in females, obviously. Women. But, yeah, she started doing that. And as it was reacting to the Lord's Prayer, it was hurting her that I was doing the Lord's Prayer on her friend. It felt it from the living room, the other side. So I said, I think that we should have this guy come over, my friend. He does exorcisms, and I think that maybe you should get a cleansing. And that's what we did. We go over there. At first, we go over there. Nothing happened. I was like, damn, I can't believe that. So, and I knew when I left there, I said to Biff, I said, they're going to be calling us in a couple weeks. And they did. A week and a half later, we got a message to come back to the house and cleanse the house, which we did. So Biff attempted to do a spiritual cleansing on them again, and that's when the demon came out. Demon, I don't know what the name of this demon was. I wasn't really paying attention to classifying it from a demon in the Goetia or the Goetia or the Ars Goetia. There's a whole bunch of different versions. Different Christian demonology is much more different than all the other demonologies, but there's a lot of different things, a lot of different sectors of the subject. Right? She got all Linda Blair. Holy shit. Biff, that she was gonna reach up and bite his face. But you know what the best part about this is? It really does seem like there's this barrier between the exorcist and the possessee. This barrier of grace. And it doesn't really seem like they could do anything physically to him. You're going to see in the next episode too. Trust me, you're going to see a prime example of that one where him and a demon went mano to mano. Fists were out and everything else. Yeah, you'll see in the next one. This guy was a skinny guy, and he turned into Popeye, and his arms became 3 times the size when the demon manifested. And him and Biff were about to go head to head, but Biff had it all under control. And I knew he had it under control. I was going to go break it up, but he knows he did. And that was another extreme one. But anyway, back to episode 1. Don't mind, I have ADD. So, episode 1. Did the exorcism on her. That went on for about an hour. It was pretty damn long. As a matter of fact, I try to take a break. I go out for a smoke. And as you can see, I smoke a lot. Look, listen. I've seen more demons than I have people. Okay? This is one of my friends and one of my foes at the same time, if you know what I mean. But I'm here to do what I gotta do and fight the demon. And, live out my life. I believe that's what God made me for. It was interesting because let's go back to the first time. Hold on, I'll be right. What I would like to actually get into, because you saw plenty of the possessee on episode 1, but I would like to get into her husband because we have a little bit of recordings on him, but he was a very important part of this whole thing. And as you can see on episode 1, when Biff started the cleansing, it had a ricochet effect on him across the room. And if you could see on episode 1, I will leave it in the comments below the link. Check it out, it's free. It ricocheted on him, and this cleansing bounced from her and went on to him, and you will see that. It's very, very interesting. But when we came back and we did an exorcism on the husband, he got very aggressive. This is normal. Men are aggressive in general, but when they have demons in them, it gives beer muscles. It makes beer muscles look like a joke, if that makes any sense. It really does. So it was just fascinating. The stuff he was saying is crazy. And you know what? This dude was like 73 years old, and he was kind of jacked a little bit for his age. And he was tough, and he was a biker, and he was involved with all sorts of things. Really loved the family too. Love him, love his wife, love the friends, everything. Their friends. But it's one of my favorite families doing this. I would say would be them. But yeah, he said some pretty dramatic things. Like Scott Lumley was on the team, and he challenged the guy because he started giving him. The guy started giving Scott looks, like fighting looks. And look, the three of us are some pretty badass, tough-ass motherfuckers, okay? But this dude was tough too, Ron. He didn't give a fuck. He wasn't scared at all. We were being very respectful, but this dude was holding it down. But Scott came, kneeled in front of him and said some words respectfully. Like he accepted his challenge. And then Biff was it's a funny group, man. I tell you. This is a funny thing. Then Biff was holding his hand and putting energy in his hand. And the possessee, Roddy, was squeezing his hand really hard. And Biff, he looked at him and said, "Ron, I am 10 years younger than you, and I am a roofer. I know you're a tough guy, but I'm 10 years younger than you, and I'm a roofer. I don't think that's a good idea." Oh my God. Get up to go have a smoke break. I have to sometimes. There's a lot of energy in that damn room. I get up sometimes, I go out, come back in, and Ron, he has a pit bull. One of his dogs is a pit bull. And it's definitely has a very strong, one of the more stronger jaw structures. It would bark at me like crazy for whatever reason. I don't know why. Was okay with Scott and Biff, no problem with that. But barked at me. And Ron came up to me, the possessee, and said, "That dog will rip all of you three apart." Like that. The weird thing was, see, this is what's so unexpected about these exorcisms, is that the real weird thing was his exorcism was chill. He didn't get up and go crazy. But this dude was a badass motherfucker. He had mad demons in him. He was a badass motherfucker. And he was just showing the three of us that he was a one-man army, basically. Holded the fort down, and that he did. And it was actually a very chill exorcism. They stopped drinking to this day. This is the best part about this, is the results. And we're going to actually get into some interviews with some of the ex-possessees about the results. But, you know, most of these have very, very good results. Like I said, they don't drink anymore. Getting their lives together and everything else in their marriage. So, I just wanted to go over a recap, though, because that was an intense one, as you could see. And again, when she said her mother has teeth like razors, I was like, oh shit. I saw it in her face. When you, listen, when you're in that room and you're looking at the lady's face or the man's face who's possessed, and you're seeing it transform, it's pretty damn intense. As a matter of fact, you know, paranormal investigating is very, very different, but we combine the two and it works to get well together. A lot of demon hunting and paranormal. But, you know, as a matter of fact, you're going to see in the next coming episode, I have one possessee who's possessed by an incubus. And, you know, I've seen things physically manifest at her house, in her house. I've been spending the past 9 years investigating the home, and I've never seen anything quite like this. I mean, this entity has the ability to manifest bees in her house, manifest bees inside her car. She never gets stung by these, but the last time I went there, I finally got evidence of the bees. Oh my God, it blew me away, because that story always sends shivers up my spine, but I never could believe it. And that's what's so funny, because before she even told me that story, there were so many physics-defying things that happened right in front of me that I've seen proof of. But even as a psychic medium myself, my human mind still has a hard time processing this stuff. So whenever I go over there and she tells me, oh, this and happened, I'm thinking to myself, she's messing with me this time. That's what I'm thinking, because my mind can't process it still, even though it's happened right in front of my face. Stuff like that's happened. Physically manifesting happens with demons. These things can physically manifest stuff. Very dangerous. Anyway, we will be releasing the second episode this month sometime. Stay tuned. Smash that like button. Getting on YouTube. Exorcism Unfiltered. Nick Grossman, Psychic Medium. Have a good weekend.